Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Kensthetic, and I'm here with you guys today to share my experience from my Southwest trip that I did in September 2018. Before we get started, do not forget to subscribe by hitting that red subscribe button down below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up, and let's go ahead and get started. So in case you guys were not following me on Instagram or Twitter, I visited the Southwest in September 2018 with my friend Donasia. We went to Las Vegas, Utah, and Arizona within a week. So I just wanted to share my experiences with you guys, to let you guys know what we did, what we learned from the experience, what we wish we would have done in addition to what we did. So yeah, so I guess I'll start off with why we chose to visit the Southwest. On Instagram, we saw so many inspiration pictures. Like, we legit follow a whole bunch of travel pages, and for some reason, around the time that we were looking to go on a trip, we just saw so many pictures of people visiting national sites, and we were like, oh my god, like, we're dying to go there. So how much did we pay for our plane tickets? So both plane tickets were $250 round trip. So we flew from New York to Las Vegas, and coming back we flew from Phoenix back to New York. So our round trip ticket was $250, which wasn't bad. We did book like kind of last minute, so it could have been cheaper if we like planned it out in advance, but $250 wasn't bad. And just to throw it out there for everyone who claims, like, you know, I don't travel because it's so expensive, or traveling is so expensive, if you put it into perspective, right? Boom. So I paid $250 round trip for the Southwest trip, and I paid about the same thing when I went to Iceland. And if you guys did not see my Q&A video from my trip to Iceland, I'll go ahead and link it above here. But that just puts into perspective, like, it's the same price to kind of go across the United States versus to another country. So for all of y'all who claim that y'all not traveling because it's too expensive. So how long did we go for? We left on a Friday, September 14th, and we returned the next Friday, September 21st. So we were away for about 7 days. So the next thing is, what did we do while we were there? What was on our itinerary? And this one is going to be a kind of long one just because we did a lot. So we basically flew into Vegas on Friday evening / night. So, you know, the whole time difference. When we got there, it was basically nighttime in Vegas. So when we got there, we just went to the hotel, checked in, and we went out that night, but we didn't really do anything. Like, we just went out and walked on the strip. But we did stay at Excalibur Hotel in Vegas, and I just wouldn't recommend for anyone to stay there, but that's just my personal opinion. And if you guys need a reference as to why I think you shouldn't stay there, I'll go ahead and link vlog number 1, where we basically displayed why we would not recommend that hotel. But we stayed at the Excalibur for 2 nights. The first night we got there, we kind of just relaxed. We went on the strip, we got something to eat, and then we came back inside and slept. So the next day, which was a Saturday, we went to a day party at Tao, and it was free. And it had like open bar for like 2 or 3 hours, and basically we found out about it from Eventbrite. So we just went on Eventbrite and we searched like Las Vegas, and then you put in, I think, the date. So we put in Saturday, and we just saw like a whole bunch of day parties that were going on, and most of them were free. So if you are looking for something in Vegas to do, you don't know what's going on, you don't know where to look, go on Eventbrite, type in Las Vegas, type in the day that you're looking for something to do, and a lot of things usually pop up. So the day party was fun. I would definitely recommend going to a day party at Tao. And then we went back inside the hotel. So that night we went to Dre's nightclub, and when we went there, it was $50 for ladies to get in that night, and T.I. was performing. And we were like, oh my god, $50. But we were just like, F it, we already got ready, we already here. So we just went inside, and it was actually fun. So the next day we woke up, we got ready because we had to check out of the hotel by, I think, noon. And then we went to a day party at Daylight Club, and it was fun, it was cool. We got it for free. So after that, we left Vegas, we departed, took our little rental, and we drove to Hurricane, Utah. So in Hurricane, Utah, we had booked a Airbnb for 1 night. We had an experience with that. I'll go ahead and link the vlog where you guys can see that up here. So we basically got to Hurricane, Utah, and had to stay in a hotel room. So we stayed at the Clarion Inn and Suites Hurricane Zion Park area, and it was about $90 to $100 to stay there for the night. But the hotel room was very comfortable. It was very spacious. They had complimentary breakfast, so it was a good turnout given the experience that we had. So that next morning we woke up and we checked out of the hotel and we drove to Zion National Park. So when you're going to Zion National Park, it is recommended to get there early because of parking. But when we got there, it was maybe like 12 going on 1. And the way it is that there's parking like up the hill, and then there's like parking lots as you go up. But the parking is the same everywhere. I think it's $20 per car. And also they have shuttle buses that run throughout all of the parking areas, free shuttle buses, and they basically bring you wherever you want to go. So where you park doesn't really matter. When we were at Zion National Park, we were able to visit 3 of the stops on the route comfortably. And when I say comfortably, like, we got there, we were able to take pictures, we were able to, like, you know, enjoy ourselves and not have to rush. I think there was like a total of 9 stops, I want to say, or 10 stops, but we just decided to do our top 3 just because we wanted to like have our time, explore, take pictures, relax. Like, I don't think we had no cell phone service when we were there, but I already had my phone on Do Not Disturb because I just wanted to get away from everyone. But it was just so refreshing to be surrounded by such an amazing view, like fresh air. It was just so nice. Like, I would definitely recommend that stop if you're doing this trip. After we left Zion National Park, we drove to Canab, Utah, which is close to Page, which is where the Antelope Canyons are. So we got there, we checked into our Airbnb. So the next day we woke up and we did a morning tour of the Lower Antelope Canyon. So for the Lower Antelope Canyon, I think there are 2 or 3 tour companies that run tours of it, but the Lower Antelope Canyon is more popular than the Upper Antelope Canyon. So we got there, we were like, you know, can we buy tickets? And they were like, no, we're fully booked for the day, but there's this area over here which is basically like standby people who didn't buy tickets but wanted to go on the tour for the day. So we sat there, I think we were like number 14 in line, and we got taken, I think they do the tour every 15-30 minutes, but we got taken in the 3rd group of like, we're pulling people from standby. That tour was $50 a person, and I would just recommend that you buy your ticket for the tour beforehand so that you know when you pull up that you're gonna get on a tour and you don't have to like sit in a standby area and wonder when you're being taken, if you're being taken. So make sure you buy your ticket for that in advance. The company that we used for the Lower Antelope Canyon was Ken Tours. I'll go ahead and put it on the screen, and everything will be in the description box down below. I did want to note on this tour is that you cannot record inside. Like, if they catch you recording inside, they threaten like to kick you off the tour and you don't get your money back. So no recording inside the Lower Antelope Canyon. So yeah, so we left early. We left the tour early because we had to go to our next excursion, which was kayaking in the Powell Lake. The company that we used to book was Hidden Canyon Kayak, and our tour guide was amazing. So basically we kayaked, I want to say 10 miles, and when I tell y'all, my body was out of commission after that, but it was such an amazing experience. Our tour guide was so amazing. We went to the farthest point first, and then he took us, we parked our kayak, we parked our little vehicle, and we walked on this little cave thing, and it was like a historic site, so he was able to tell us about the history of it. He gave us little snacks, and then we left. And when we left, we made a stop at a cliff, so anybody that wanted to like jump off of the cliff into the water was able to. Your girl can't swim, so I wasn't about that life, but Donasia did it, and she said it was a great experience. And then we came back. So after we did that tour, we drove to Flagstaff, Arizona, where we stayed in an Airbnb once again. And that Airbnb was really nice. It was really clean. It was good. And that one was less than $100 for the night. So I think that was the cheapest housing situation that we had. But we basically just stayed there for the night. Like, we slept and then we woke up and we were back on the road. So the next day we visited the Grand Canyon National Park. And when we got there, there was a fee of $45. And we basically parked, and then we took the free shuttle bus to the stops that we wanted to go to. We only made it to one stop, which was Maricopa Point, and it started pouring. It started raining, and all of the buses were full because everyone was trying to, you know, get back to somewhere where there was coverage. Like, it was pouring. It was raining cats and dogs. So basically we had to walk back to the car. We basically left and drove to Phoenix. So when we went to Phoenix, we went to the Beyonce concert, and for the concert we had to get ready in the car because of the time restraint. And after we left the concert, we went to go check into our hotel. So we stayed at the Magnuson Hotel Papago Inn, and it was $103 for the night. The next day we got up, we explored the city of Phoenix. We went to breakfast to get IHOP, and honestly that was the best IHOP that I ever had in my life. We went to the downtown Phoenix area, we saw street art, we went to some cool bars and restaurants. One of the bars that we went to was a rooftop bar. It was called Lustre, and it was in a hotel. So we went there, we had a drink, and then basically we left to come back to New York the next day. So long itinerary, lots of things that we did, lots of things that you guys can pick up to do if you guys are interested in doing this trip. But honestly, it was amazing. It's just amazing to see like the beauty that the United States has, because for me, when I started traveling, I went to more international places first. So the fact that I did this national trip, had such a great time, saw such amazing sights, I was really in awe. So the next thing is, what sites did we visit that I would definitely recommend? And I would honestly recommend all of them. And in addition to the sites that we went to, some other sites that you could take into consideration if you are planning a similar trip is the Joshua Tree, which is in California, the White Sands National Monument, which is in New Mexico. It has a breathtaking view. Like, I saw pictures of that and I was just... The Yellowstone National Park, the Olympic National Park, which is in Washington, and also when you're in Phoenix to do a hot air balloon ride. We wanted to do it, but the pickup I think was like at 5 or 6 a.m. and we just wasn't waking up that early, so we didn't end up doing it. And then just some tips to anyone who's interested in doing this trip or a similar trip. The first tip that I have is to go on Eventbrite to find any day parties or to find things to do while you're in Vegas. Eventbrite is your go-to. Second tip is to make sure that you plan out all of your stops and where you want to go and map it out. The next tip I have is that if you're planning to visit the Lower Antelope Canyon, make sure you book your tour in advance. So the next tip is to rent a car. It just makes it easier to get to different states, to get to different cities if you guys are planning to do this trip. So I think our car rental was about $200 per person for the week that we used it to get around. So we had picked up our rental our last day in Vegas just because we didn't need it to get around Vegas. So if you guys are planning to stay in Vegas for the beginning of your trip, I would recommend to wait until the end of Vegas to pick up the car rental. The next tip is that there is a national park pass, which is about $80 for the year, which allows you access to any national park for the year. So the annual pass makes sense if one, you're doing this trip multiple times a year, or two, you're doing this trip and you're making more stops at national parks. This option was presented to us, but I forgot which one of our stops it didn't apply to, so we were just like, you know, like we'll just pay for each one individually. If you are planning to stop at multiple national parks, I would say to look up the admission fees and then compare the total of that to the $80 to see if it makes sense for you to get the national pass or for you to pay entry for each park individually. And if you do plan on doing this trip multiple times a year, it might be an option for you. And then the next tip is to look at Airbnbs if you're visiting different places. It usually comes out being cheaper, and for us it did. Those are all of the tips that I had. The last question, which I'm going to answer in all of these videos, is would I do this trip again? And basically I would. One, I would do this trip for a longer period of time, and two, the next time I do this trip, I wouldn't visit any of the same sites that I visited on this trip, just because there's so many national sites in the US along that coast that we weren't able to get to. So I would definitely do this trip again and visit different sites. The only site that I could possibly see myself going to again is the Grand Canyon, because in case you guys do not know, the Grand Canyon has a northern rim and a southern rim. So if any of my routes, you know, take me around there, then I'll probably do it again, since we were only able to make one stop when we went. That's the only site I can see myself intentionally doing again. But I hope this video was able to answer all of the questions that you guys had in regards to my trip to the Southwest. Comment down below and let me know if you guys have any additional questions. As always, make sure you guys read the comments down below, because people may be asking questions you never thought of. People could be asking questions that you thought of. Just read the comments down below. It's kind of going to be a discussion board for this week. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Also, do not forget to subscribe. by hitting that red subscribe button down below before you guys leave today's video. And I'll go ahead and include some of our recent uploads here in case you guys are not caught up for whatever reason. And until tomorrow's video, I will see you guys later.